Hi, Debbie.
Well, good evening, everyone. This is Debbie Kral, Pro 7 out of, New York, Saratoga, New York, and Ocala, Florida. It's August 25th and 2021. And I'm so excited for this evening and who we have as a guest. First, I want to welcome everyone to our Wednesday night Think Like a Pro training. This happens every Wednesday evening. And what we try to do is bring new and different guests who can bring, fresh ideas and information to us that we can pass on to our teams. And this team is made up of Pro 9 Greg Deeker, Pro 8 Vandy Flake, Pro 8 Kai Hayes, Sonny Balaje, Pro 8, Pro 7 Dr. Jean DeLucia, and myself, Debbie Kral. So thank you all for being here this evening, and we hope we can bring some great information to you. I am super excited. You're just coming off of the LBA that we just had. It's so fun how we have so many people that are cross-line in this organization. And as it was, I went down to, I'm up and visiting in Saratoga, New York, but I went down to Massachusetts with some cross-line people, Jenny Russick and Mimi. And we had a great time with the teams that they had brought together. So I was very excited to be with them on Saturday. And the information that we received there was incredible. I just want to bring a couple of comments out that I got from myself. And one was that, anybody can do this business. We had 3 very powerful speakers Saturday morning. They're all very different, all had different backgrounds, but everyone can be successful in this business. It all depends on when we make a decision and when we decide we're going to go to work and what skills do we need to learn. Very few of us just happen to fall into network marketing and have all the skills that we need in the beginning. And for me, I don't believe any of them. So I had to work really hard on a lot of them. And there's a lot of us that are like that. But the other second thing that was said by Clinton Boyles really hit home to me, and that was it's time to go to work. We have an incredible corporate team now that has put everything together for us. In the past, we've had shipping, we've had a lot of things in place, customer service, this is great, but we have apps and we have people behind us, teaching us how to take our next step. And we have incredible products now. What did we always want? Somebody to feel something, they take it, they feel something. We have those products now. So we have so many things in place, and now it is just about us going to work. And I'm talking about myself. Some of you know I took a little time off, 1.5 years to heal up from surgery that I had. But it's time to go to work now. Everything's in place. We just need to step in there and own it. So I know that's what I'm doing. That's where I'm going. And so tonight we're going to bring somebody in that's been in for years. And he is a very knowledgeable individual because he's had just decades of experience to bring to us. And this is part of what's so valuable about LifeVantage is we have these people that have the knowledge. We just have to be here in front of it, absorb it, and then go tell somebody else about it. And what I love about Dr. Lee Seward is that he can say it in such a simple manner that we can understand it, because that doesn't always happen with the doctors. But he is precious. He is just amazing what he can bring to us as far as learning and the value that he brings to us, not only as a person, but what he knows about animals and how we can pass this on to our dogs and our horses. So I am very excited to have Dr. Lee Seward with us tonight. And I'm not going to take any more of your time. So please step in, tell us your story, and you guys take lots of notes. He's amazing.
Thank you so much, Debbie. I'm truly honored and humbled to be here. This is an amazing group, and all the leaders that are involved in this, just amazing. I know many of them, and they're just great people, and I've gotten so much from them over the years. We're also lucky to have them and to have them in this group. And special thanks to Debbie for inviting me today to join you. Debbie and I are friends. We go back clear to the beginning of when I joined LifeVantage, and she's an amazing leader and an amazing person. And it's great to see her. And I'm looking really forward to seeing her at convention in
Yes.
person. So that's, if you guys aren't going, you better. It's going to be amazing. Anyway, you mentioned LVA, and we had a great LVA in Denver. And one of the things that Skip Campbell was on fire. Those of you that have heard Skip, he's an amazing presenter, and he was at the top of his game. And we also had the CEO of the company, Steve Fife, was at our LVA, an amazing guy. So, and one of the things they talked about was belief. And belief is the key, really, to what we do. And you probably all know the 4 pillars of belief. The product, belief in the product, belief in the company, belief in the industry, and belief in yourself. And really, for me, when I joined the company, it was primarily because of the product. And I think really the product, the stronger your belief in the product, it gives you time to develop the belief in those other things. And one of the things I'd like to tell you about is how I joined the company and how it immediately built my belief. This was in 2013, early in the year. My wife and I, this year, we celebrate our 50th wedding anniversary. She was a child bride. Anyway, we were on a flight, Southwest flight going to San Antonio. And there's a lot of things about this. We weren't doing real great. I had gotten a lot of pain and stiffness. My mobility wasn't great. A lot of goes back to injuries I'd had in the past years. And the same for Rebecca. She'd had a serious horse accident a few years earlier and was really suffering the consequences of that accident in her mobility. But we wanted to go to this wedding. It was an important family event, and we were flying into San Antonio. But there was another cloud over this trip, and that was our family member, our loyal dog, Sheila, that had been with us for a long time, was suffering what we thought or we saw as her end of life experience. And as you may know, with your favorite pets, that's not a pleasant thing. She was at a point in her life where she couldn't get around very well at all. She'd lost a lot of her hair, losing muscle mass. She couldn't get up. I would have to carry her outside to take care of business and carry her back in. And she was just not having an enjoyable experience at this time of her life. We knew we needed to make a decision, but we just couldn't do it before we left. We wanted to wait till we got back and when we could spend more time with her. So we had a good friend of ours look after her who knew Sheila and loved her as much as we did. And we went to the wedding. Well, on this Southwest Airlines flight happened to be a young woman, sat down next to my wife, Rebecca, and they were both very extroverted people, me not so much. And within minutes, they were friends. And I was sitting on the window, the plane was full, and headed to San Antonio. And about half an hour into the flight, the lady pulled out her iPad and started showing my wife a video on her iPad. And yes, you know what it was. It was the ABC Primetime Investigative Report. And I was looking over my wife's shoulder and watching this. And when it was done, I was really intrigued, and I was really stimulated to think about this technology, a technology that reduced oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days, and even more as long as you kept taking the pills. So I was really interested in it. But of course, I didn't know anything about network marketing, never done it. In fact, for whatever reason, maybe because nobody thought we were worthwhile, we had never even been approached by anybody our entire lives about a network marketing opportunity. So we knew nothing about it. nothing positive, that's for sure. But long story short, after watching that, I told the lady, who it turned out to be was Jennifer Bishop, amazing woman, that, you know, we were interested, but we'd have to wait till we got back. I needed to do some research, etc. And after the wedding, we got home, did the due diligence, and found out that this was, in fact, the truth. That video portrayed the truth about oxidative stress and how this technology could reduce it, and all the amazing things that oxidative stress, reduction of oxidative stress, can accomplish. And while we were on the flight headed to San Antonio, the woman told us that one of the things going on in her meeting with this company, LifeVantage, in San Antonio, was the launch of a dog product involving this technology, now known as Pet Tandem. So when we got home, after doing my due diligence and interacting with Jennifer, we signed up. We got Sheila on Pet Tandem immediately. And the event, the significance of that pill in Sheila in a very short period of time was absolutely amazing. After a few weeks, her mobility returned. She could go out on her own. Her hair growth started to come back in. Her hair started to come back in. After probably 2 or 3 months, she was back moving relatively normally. I wasn't having to carry her at all. She had been having accidents in the house, which she would have died to prevent, literally. But she quit having those accidents in the house, and really back to enjoying her life. And then one night, Becky was gone, and I was going out to feed the horses, and in the barnyard, I turned the barnyard lights on, was crossing the barnyard, and Sheila was out checking out her various rabbit holes and haunts. And so she was out of my sight, out of the throw of the yard lights. So as I was walking, I noticed some movement out of the corner of my eye, and there was a fox running across the yard with Sheila in hot pursuit. So within the span of a few months, Sheila went from not being able to stand on her own and move to chasing that fox. She continued to improve and got to the point where, sorry about the cat hair tail there, she continued to improve and got to the point where she had her full mobility, had a hair coat like I had never seen on her probably in years, probably the best of her life. And we had at least another year and a half of quality life with her before the end of her life. Now think about that. All the joy and all the satisfaction that you get from your pet, and being able to extend that for a year. I mean, it's just, I just still get chills whenever I think about that this loyal pet that we'd had for all that time, and me as a veterinarian who couldn't do anything to help her, gave her the quality of life and another year and a half with us. I don't know if you can see this. This is a picture of Sheila that summer after starting her on Pet Tandem. And that hair coat, you see that hair coat, is just amazing. And she was just a delightful member of the family. And what is that worth? What is that really worth, to have that joy extended? So Pet Tandem solidified my belief and understanding of the NRF2 technology and what it could do, not just in Sheila, but in Rebecca and myself, because we have stories very, very similar, and about what it did for us and in that time of our life. Over the span of years, you always, once you pass 50, you start feeling like you've got something following you. Well, I can tell you, when I hit the late 60s and I started having these mobility problems and everything else, I turned around and I could make out what it was that was following me. And it was the Grim Reaper. And I can tell you, I can tell you that after taking Protandim Nerf 2 for a year, that image faded because I was feeling so much better, moving so much more, doing so much more. And so the technology is just an amazing thing. There's no other company, no other product like it for dogs and for people. And I just think that I could like to paraphrase something that Steve Fife said at our LVA. You've got the best products in the industry. Now, what are you going to do about it? So with that, Debbie, I think I've pretty much told that story. And I hope you guys understand that the belief in product is not just a belief, but it can be increased. It's something that it can get stronger and stronger and stronger. And that's something that will help you overcome some of the hurdles that you may come up against. So Debbie, I've got time, I think, for a couple of questions if you'd like.
Okay, that would be wonderful. Your just expertise is amazing. And, something that made such a difference for me was a number of years ago, LifeVantage had introduced me to PubMed.gov, but I didn't understand Scholar.Google, but you were the one who explained that to me. And that was another big belief factor with a number of studies that are out there. Could you go over that for some of our folks?
Yeah, that's a great question. Great question. Thank you so much, because I think I've helped a lot of people. I'm so happy for it. It's nothing to do with me. It's just that I had the exposure to it. So I knew about scholar.google.com. So Google Scholar is a technical search engine as opposed to Google. If you tell people to go to Google to try to find out something about Protandim Nerf 2, they'll get their crazy uncle's opinion. If you tell them to go to Google Scholar, you'll find hundreds of papers about Protandim and NRF2, and you'll find thousands, tens of thousands of papers about oxidative stress in dogs, horses, etc. So it's a huge database, particularly relevant to animal health. You might find a few papers about dogs and horses on PubMed.gov, but the National Institute of Health Library, PubMed.gov, is primarily aimed at human health. But the papers on Google Scholar cover a whole range of things, including animal health. And a lot of the publications on animals aren't covered by PubMed.gov, but they are covered in Google Scholar. So it's an amazing, amazing source of information. And you can use it the same way you use PubMed. Now you have to be a little more careful with it, because there are things that are in there that are opinion pieces by experts, etc. But there are a number of large number of just excellent source of information.
We just had a question come through in the chat about could you use it for cats?
That's another good question. Yes. Of course, we have no product for cats. We have no data on cats. One of the things about Protandim that it makes it unique is that we actually have clinical data on the product. There's a number of factors with it. It has been shown to essentially have the same mechanism of action in dogs as it has in humans. And we actually have a clinical trial that shows that. In cats, we don't have that data. And of course, cats are not dogs. But in fact, a lot of people have experienced the benefits of NRF2 technology in reducing oxidative stress in cats, including myself. The issue is, how do you get it into a cat? And that's a problem. We powder a Protandim into fine powder and mix it with wet food. And you have to go very, very light. You can't put in very much at a time. And you have to kind of work with it to see how that works. But, and there's lots of other methods people use. Some of them just say, I'm going to pill my cat. Our cats have their full claws. So that becomes problematic when you, after about the third or fourth time, you try to kill them with it. So, we can get a little bit into them. In fact, we had a cat, now she's gone, but that we had used the last couple of years of her life. We'd given her pet tandem, and she lived to be 23 years old. So pretty amazing little kitty.
That's fantastic.
And
Yeah,
we saw some mobility improvements in her. We saw some mobility improvements. We saw some behavioral improvements. So yeah, cats can benefit if you can get it into them on a consistent basis.
you can get it into them. All right. Is anyone got a question? Just trying to read the chat here. All right. Well, I just want to thank you, Dr. Lee. You are so busy, and I know it. And but we so appreciate you, what you bring to the table for us, and making it where we can understand it. Your expertise is very much appreciated, and I want to thank you so much for being able to step in here and speak with us.
You bet.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you having me. I appreciate it so much. It's great to see everybody, and I'm amazed at this group and the leadership in this group. Many people I consider friends that are just really gifts. They're gifts to you.
And like you say, we're going to get to see each other in October. So I'm super excited about that.
You bet.
I want to put the fire under everybody. Get registered, please. There are hundreds of tickets left. There's not thousands. Please get registered. I know a lot of the hotels are already booked out, but that's okay. There are a number of hotels that I got one right across the street from the square, Holiday Inn. It wasn't in our list, but there's still hotels out there. Just don't wait any longer. Make sure you make your commitment tonight. Don't wait until tomorrow to do it. This is going to be a really important event, not just because it is one of our conventions, it's our global convention, and we haven't seen each other in so long, and we need to. This group of people needs that. So get yourself registered and get there. That's October 7th through the 9th. The very next event that we're going to have is going to be in September. It'll be September 18th, and that get registered for the next LVA that we have. We're going to open up more cities. Looks like that there's probably about 9 cities that are going to be open now, so you can go and pick what's closest to you. And I think this kind of reminds me of, I got started in about the 3rd year Life Vanish had been around, and we drove a long way to go to places. You know, we got kind of lazy, I think, in the last few years. We'd go like, oh, well, this is really convenient. This is an hour or 2 away. There were times where we had to drive 4 or 5 hours to be somewhere because there just weren't that many places, but we have them now, and it's slowly opening up. And it is so worth being there to not just hear the information, but it's the culture of people that we're around and how they make us feel, and understand how important this is, what we're bringing to the table for other people to hear. So I can't tell you how important it is to get registered for those 2 events, September 18th, LVA, and October 7th, 8th, and 9th in Salt Lake City. I know my very first event I went to, I said I was only going to go to one. I'm never going to another one. I was going to see if this was a hula boola. You know, everybody gets all excited and then you go home and do nothing, the deal. And I went there I was up till 2 o'clock every night trying to shake people, wondering if this was real, because when I kind of got a drift of it the first night, this might be real. I had a hard time believing it. If I hadn't gone to that event and just had numbers of people in front of me that I could ask the same question, you know, how long have you been in? Are you really making money? Do they really pay you? Is this a real business? Have you ever done this before? Do you go ask, 50 or 60 people that and you get the same answer over and over? All of a sudden I was scared to death. It wasn't real. I was so excited this could be what I really was looking for. And could I do it? And while you're there, what you understand is there's a team of people that are there to help you learn how to do it. No one has to come in with any fantastic skill sets. You can learn them all. So getting to an event will always be the most important thing, and that I think anyone can do I've been in now for 9 years and I've never missed an event. So I know I would not be in the business if I had not gone to my first one. So please, please get registered for that. Get excited about what's in front of us and the people that are there to teach us, just like Dr. Lee Seward. And I want to thank you again for your time and your expertise, and thank everyone for being on this evening. Please get some people on the recording. I think this was a great one, and have a good evening, everyone.